She didn't scream when the gun went off. She didn't even blink. The sound rang out like thunder inside the marble hall, bouncing against the walls as if the room itself had been shot. A guard dropped to his knees behind her, clutching his shoulder, blood spreading fast. Her husband, her stranger husband, didn't flinch. He lowered the gun slowly, like he'd done this 1,000 times before. "You signed the papers," he said, his voice low, steady, terrifyingly calm. "And now you belong to me." Her breath caught. The wedding veil trembled against her cheek. This wasn't the dream she thought she'd stumbled into. This was a trap, deadly, quiet, elegant. The man standing a few steps away in a black suit wasn't a prince. He was something much darker. What happens when Amara find out he is not just a billionaire, but the leader of the most dangerous mafia gang in Seoul? Stay with me. What happened next will reveal a lot of hidden motives and plots. And hey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and share if you want more stories like this. The guards didn't move. No one dared. He holstered the gun like it meant nothing and turned to her. Their eyes locked, his calm, hers shaking. She opened her mouth to speak, but her voice broke before it left her throat. "You think I'm the villain," he murmured, stepping closer. "But trust me, Angel, the villains fear me." Her fingers trembled around the bouquet she was still holding. Her knees felt weak. She didn't know what was worse, the blood on the floor or the fact that she didn't even know his name. 7 hours earlier, she had been running through the crowded streets of Seoul with a torn suitcase and no idea where she was going. Her phone had died. Her Visa clock was ticking, and her wallet had been stolen 2 hours after she arrived. A black car had pulled up beside her like it had been waiting all along. The window rolled down, and there he was. Sharp jaw, cold eyes, perfect suit. "You're lost," he'd said, not asked. She had wanted to run, but her legs didn't listen. "I can help you," he'd added, leaning closer, voice like silk soaked in danger. She should have walked away. But when you're desperate, even hell looks like a home. They met in a quiet restaurant where his men watched her every move. He introduced himself simply as Jay. No last name. No details. Just Jay. She told him her situation in broken sentences. She had nowhere to stay, no money, no plan. He leaned back, watching her like a chess piece he already knew how to move. "I'll solve your problem," he said. "But you'll have to give me something in return." "What?" she whispered. "Your hand." She thought it was a joke. He slid a contract across the table like it was business. A legal marriage, temporary, just to help her stay. That's how he framed it. She signed because she thought she had nothing to lose. She didn't know she was signing away her freedom. He smiled for the first time, and it was the kind of smile that should have made her feel safe, but made the air turn cold instead. Back in the present, the blood on the floor gleamed under the chandelier. One of the guards whispered something in Korean. She didn't understand the words, but she understood the fear. Jay reached out his hand. "Let's go home." She didn't want to take it, but something in his voice said there was no other option. Her fingers brushed his, and it felt like signing another silent contract. The ride to the mansion was quiet, except for the sound of the rain and the faint hum of the engine. She pressed her hand against the window, trying to remember how she ended up here. He finally spoke. "You're shaking," he said without looking at her. She stayed silent. "You should stop being afraid," he added. "Fear makes people do stupid things." She swallowed. What did that man do back there? He tilted his head slightly, eyes on the road ahead. "He disrespected my wife." Her heart lurched. "Wife?" He said it like it was carved in stone. "You don't even know me," she whispered. "I know enough," he replied. She didn't realize she'd been holding her breath until the car stopped in front of a mansion that didn't look real. Black gates, tall walls, armed guards, cameras everywhere. A place meant to keep people out, or keep someone in. She stepped out, and the rain kissed her dress like a mockery. The door shut behind her. One of the guards spoke to Jay rapidly in Korean. His expression shifted slightly. Not fear, annoyance. "What's going on?" she asked. He turned back to her. "Nothing you need to worry about. Yet." He led her inside. Everything looked too expensive to touch. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and silence so thick it felt alive. A woman in black approached her and whispered, "Run while you can." She froze. "What?" The woman lowered her gaze immediately, like she'd broken a law by speaking. Jay's voice cut through the air. Inside. Now. The woman vanished into the shadows like she'd never existed. Inside the living room, Jay poured himself a drink, never offering her one. You look terrified, he said. Good. Fear is honest. She finally snapped. Who are you? His smile was slow, dangerous. You'll find out soon enough. But I want to know now, she yelled. He placed the glass down and walked toward her. Every step he took felt like a door closing behind her. You married a stranger, he said softly. And strangers have secrets. She backed away until her back hit the wall. His hand brushed her chin lightly, but it wasn't a lover's touch. It was a warning. You're not going anywhere, he whispered. And if you try, remember what happened to the man in the hall. A chill ran through her spine. But what would happen next would shatter everything she thought she knew about him, and about herself. He turned away, and for a second, his mask cracked. She saw something in his eyes. Not softness. Not cruelty. Something worse. Emptiness. The silence stretched. She heard her own heartbeat pounding too loud. Jay snapped his fingers, and 2 guards appeared like ghosts. Show her to her room, he ordered. They took her up the grand staircase. She didn't speak. Neither did they. But as they closed the door behind her, she whispered to herself, I'm not staying here. Little did she know, the house was listening. The door swung open with a crash, and the sudden flood of light hit her face like a slap. Amara jerked upright, her wrist straining against the cold steel chain. 2 men in black suits stepped in. They weren't here to talk. One of them cracked his knuckles, the other dragged a chair closer, scraping it on the marble like a warning. You finally awake, the taller one said. His accent carried that sharp edge she'd only heard in Seoul, controlled, dangerous. The boss doesn't like to wait. Amara's heart rammed against her ribs. What boss? She shot back, but her voice betrayed her fear. You'll see, the shorter one answered, his smile thin as a blade. They yanked her up, their grips iron tight. The hallway outside was lined with guards. Men with earpieces, men who didn't blink. She wasn't in some random place. This was power. Dangerous power. Every step echoed as they dragged her down the corridor, and then they stopped in front of double glass doors. The taller guard pressed his palm to a scanner. The lock beeped. The doors opened with a hiss. Inside was a room that didn't belong to this world. A chandelier poured gold over a long table, and at the head of that table sat a man who looked like he could buy cities. Sharp black suit, gold ring on his finger, a look that could freeze fire. It was him, the man from the night she was supposed to forget. The man who'd whispered in her ear at that party. The one everyone had warned her about. His name was Joon. Bring her here, he ordered. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of command that made everyone move. Amara stumbled as they pushed her forward. She tried to steady herself, to hide the way her knees shook. But Joon saw everything. You have no idea who you've messed with, he said. His gaze pinned her down like a knife. Amara wanted to scream that she didn't do anything. But before the words could come, he leaned back, resting his elbow on the arm of his chair, a cruel smile brushing his lips. Or maybe you do. She didn't. God, she didn't. But he was the kind of man who didn't need proof. He created his own. Before the scene could settle, the lights in the room flickered. A voice came through Joon's earpiece. A few sharp words in Korean, fast and urgent. His smile vanished. The temperature in the room dropped. Take her to the red room, he ordered. That phrase, red room, chilled her. The guards seized her again. Wait, she screamed. I don't even know what this is about. You will, Joon said softly. Oh, you will. Hey, if this story's already got your heart racing, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the twist that's coming. Trust me, it gets darker. They shoved her into a room that reeked of danger. Dark walls, chains, a single overhead light. The kind of place where people didn't walk out the same. The door slammed shut behind her. Her breathing turned ragged. What the hell was this? Then a voice whispered from the shadows, not Joon's, but someone else's. You shouldn't have come back. She spun around. A figure stepped out of the corner. Tall, lean, eyes burning like he'd seen too much. Who are you? She demanded. I'm the reason you're still alive, he replied. For a split second, confusion tangled with fear. What? They were supposed to kill you last night. Someone changed the order. Her stomach twisted. None of this made sense. Why me? He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped closer, every movement sharp but quiet. Listen carefully. You're in the house of the most feared Mafia boss in Seoul. He doesn't keep people alive unless he wants something from them. And what could he possibly want from me? She hissed. His eyes flickered. The answer to that will break everything. Another interruption. The door flung open, light cutting the shadows apart. Two more men stormed in. The stranger melted back into the corner, unseen. Joon entered. This time, no smile, no warmth, just ice. Amara, he said like he owned her name. You were at my party. You saw something you shouldn't have. Her throat dried. That night, the party, the scream from the balcony, the blood on the floor. She had run, told herself she imagined it. But she didn't imagine anything. I didn't tell anyone, she blurted. I know, he said. But someone did. That line sank like a stone. She shook her head. I swear it wasn't me. Joon tilted his head slightly. Lies have a smell. Yours are still fresh. He stepped forward, close enough for her to feel the danger radiating off him. Her pulse hammered against her wrists. He wasn't going to believe her. And in this house, truth didn't matter. Only power. Tell me, he said slowly. Who did you talk to? No one. He gave a slight nod. One of the guards moved forward with a gloved hand and grabbed her jaw tight. You see, Joon whispered, people always break. The only question is when. But what came next would leave you asking for answers. The stranger from the shadows moved fast, knife against the guard's throat, clean and silent. The man dropped like a stone before anyone could scream. Gasps filled the air. Joon froze, but only for a second. His calm was terrifying. Interesting, he muttered. The stranger grabbed Amara's hand. If you want to live, he hissed, run. She didn't think. She bolted. Sirens exploded through the hallway. Doors slammed. Footsteps thundered after them. They turned a corner, then another, weaving through a maze of steel and glass. She didn't know where they were going, but anywhere was better than that room. He'll kill us both, she gasped. He'll try, the stranger replied. But not tonight. Another door burst open ahead of them, guards flooding the corridor. Guns drawn. No way out. The stranger stepped in front of her, knife raised. Stay behind me. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She'd never been so close to death, or to something bigger than herself. If you're still watching, you might think you know how this ends. But trust me, you don't. The guards closed in. Then, a deafening crack. A bullet hit the ceiling. Everyone flinched. Joon's voice echoed from behind. Bring her back alive. Kill him. The stranger's hand tightened around hers. We're not dying here, he growled. They lunged forward. Chaos erupted. Shouts, gunfire, smoke. Amara felt the world blur. One guard dropped. Another shouted. She didn't even know how they made it to the service elevator. When the doors closed, her lungs burned like she'd swallowed fire. She pressed her hands against the cold metal. Who are you? She whispered. His answer came low and grim. The man Joon should have killed a long time ago. The elevator rattled as it slid down the shaft. Amara pressed her back against the wall, chest heaving, her mind spinning so fast it felt like it might split in half. The stranger didn't move. He stood with his knife still slick with someone else's blood, breathing steady like this was normal. Like death had been his friend for years. Why did you save me? She managed, her voice barely holding together. He didn't look at her. Because you don't know what you're worth yet. The elevator stopped with a metallic jolt. Her stomach dropped. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit underground garage. Empty. Too quiet. She didn't trust it. He stepped out first, scanning the corners like a predator who knew the hunt wasn't over. Keep close, he muttered. Her legs trembled, but she followed. Every sound echoed. Her heartbeat was so loud she could hear it in her ears. Then, just when it felt like they might have actually escaped, headlights exploded from the far end of the garage. Black SUVs. 4 of them. Engines revving like beasts waking up. The stranger cursed under his breath. He's faster than I thought. Hey, if you're still watching, it will be risky to scroll. What happens next is where everything begins to get interesting. Joon stepped out of the first SUV, calm as ice, hands in his pockets like this was all a game he was winning. His men fanned out, surrounding them. There was no way out. You should have stayed in the red room, Amara, he said softly, almost amused. It would have been less painful. Her knees weakened. She whispered to the stranger, "We're trapped." He didn't flinch. "No, not yet." Joon's eyes flicked to the stranger, and for the first time, a flash of recognition broke his mask. Well, the ghost comes back. The stranger's grip tightened around the knife. "You should have finished me." "I will," Joon said, stepping forward, "but first her." Amara's stomach turned to stone. She realized this wasn't just about what she'd seen at that party. She was leverage. Bait. Something bigger was moving beneath the surface, and she was standing right on the fault line. The stranger suddenly pulled her behind a concrete pillar just as gunfire erupted. Bullets shredded the air, metal screamed, and the sound was deafening. Amara clamped her hands over her ears, fighting not to break down. "Run when I say run," the stranger growled. "Run where?" she shot back. "We're surrounded." He didn't answer. He stepped out, fast and precise, knife flashing. One guard down, then another. A bullet whizzed past her face. Heat grazed her cheek. The garage was turning into a war zone. Joon's calm never cracked. He stood there watching like a king observing a bloody chess match. The stranger shouted, "Now!" Amara ran. Her feet pounded the concrete. Shots exploded behind her. The stranger followed, his breath steady like he'd done this 1,000 times. They dove behind a car as more bullets rained. The windows shattered, glass raining down on them. Her chest burned. "We can't outrun them." "Who said we're running?" he said, and ripped open the car door. Inside, the engine key was still in. He slid into the driver's seat like he was born for chaos. "You can't be serious," she hissed. "Buckle up." The tires screamed as they shot forward. Guards leapt out of the way. Joon's men fired. The stranger swerved hard. The SUV spun, smoke rising. The garage exit loomed ahead like salvation, until a steel gate slammed down with a thunderous clang. "Shit," Amara breathed. "Hold on." He didn't slow. He accelerated. The impact shook the world. The gate screamed, but didn't break. The second hit. It cracked. The third. They were out. Sirens roared behind them as the SUV flew into the night. Cold air slapped Amara's face through the broken window. Her body shook, adrenaline eating her alive. She couldn't tell if she was terrified or alive for the first time. If you're still glued to the screen, smash that like button, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted. Streetlights blurred past. The city stretched out, endless and indifferent. The stranger didn't speak for a while. His jaw was clenched like a man carrying ghosts. "Who the hell are you?" Amara finally snapped. He exhaled slowly. "Name's Min. I used to work for Joon. Now I'm the last person he wants breathing." Amara's skin prickled. "You worked for him?" "Until I saw what he really was." "And what is he?" Min glanced at her, and for a second, she saw the weight in his eyes. A man who built his empire on blood. A tremor ran down her spine. She remembered the body at the party, the scream that sliced through music and laughter, the way everyone acted like it didn't happen. Joon had power. Real power. The kind that erased truth. "Why did he keep me alive?" she asked. Min's grip tightened on the wheel. "Because the night of that party, you saw something that could end him." Amara's mind spun. She didn't even know what she'd seen. Just flashes. Shadows. But if it could end Joon, then she was walking around with a death sentence stamped on her forehead. "Then what do we do?" she whispered. "We make sure you live long enough to remember everything." A chill ran through her veins. This wasn't random. She was caught in something far bigger than she'd ever imagined. And Min wasn't just saving her. He was using her for something. The tires screeched as they made a hard turn into an abandoned alley. Min killed the engine. The sudden silence rang loud in her ears. "What are we doing here?" she asked. He scanned the rooftops, the windows. "Hiding. For now." She stepped out of the car, still shaking. Cold air bit at her skin. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Min said, "There's something you need to know. I wasn't the only one who tried to bring him down." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "There's someone else," he said. "And they're already inside his house." Her pulse spiked. Inside Joon's house. That meant the war wasn't over. It was just beginning. Before she could speak again, A buzzing sound filled the air. Min's burner phone vibrated. He checked the screen, and his expression darkened. "He found us," he muttered. Amara's heart crashed against her ribs. How? Because Joon doesn't lose what he owns. And what happened next would flip the entire game for Amara and Min. Because this time, they weren't the only ones being hunted. A black drone hovered above the alley. Red dot on Min's chest. A sniper's target. "Down," he barked, pulling her with him. The bullet hit the wall behind her, showering bricks. Her ears rang. They scrambled behind a dumpster. Min grabbed her face, forcing her to look at him. "Amara, if he gets you, it's over. Not just for you. For me. For everything." She was shaking. "Then what do we do?" Min's jaw clenched. "We go to the one person Joon can't touch." "Who?" His answer came like a blade. "His brother." The car roared to life again as Min slammed his foot on the gas. They shot out of the alley, the tires screeching loud enough to tear through the night. Amara kept her eyes locked on the rearview mirror. Two black SUVs appeared out of nowhere, engines snarling like they were hunting prey. "They're on us," she breathed. "They were never not on us," Min shot back, gripping the wheel. His face was cold, steady, too calm for a man being hunted. The drone still buzzed somewhere above, blinking like a predator's eye. Min swerved hard into a bridge lane. Traffic blurred past them. The night wind whipped through the cracked windows. "Where does his brother live?" she shouted. Min didn't answer. Not because he didn't want to, but because a black van just cut across the road, blocking the bridge. Her blood iced over. Another van slid in from the right. They were caged in. "Min," she whispered. "I see it." He spun the wheel hard. The SUV fishtailed, the engine screaming. They missed the barricade by inches, sliding into a narrow service road that led down beneath the bridge. Bullets rattled against the back of the car. Sparks flew. "You think you know how this chase ends? Trust me, it's about to twist in ways you don't see coming." "Hold on," Min growled. The car flew down the slope like a bullet. They burst out on the other side of the bridge into an old industrial zone, a graveyard of forgotten warehouses. Min cut the engine, turned the lights off, and let the vehicle roll into darkness. Amara's lungs screamed for air. Her hands were clenched so tight they hurt. She turned to Min. "Are we safe?" Min's jaw flexed. Safe is a word people like us don't get to use. Before she could speak again, something metallic clanged outside. Her breath hitched. Min grabbed his knife from the dashboard and motioned for her to stay quiet. He stepped out slowly, body low, moving like a shadow. The sound came again, closer this time. Amara pressed her back to the seat, every muscle coiled. Then a silhouette stepped out of the dark. A woman. Long coat. Hood pulled low. She raised her hands slowly. "Min," she said softly. "It's me." Amara froze. Min did too. His entire body changed at the sound of that voice. He lowered the knife an inch. "Yuri." The woman stepped closer, pulling her hood down. Sharp features, eyes like steel, and the kind of beauty that carried danger in its veins. Amara didn't miss the way Min's breathing shifted. "What are you doing here?" he asked. She glanced at the car. "Saving your reckless ass. You never did know how to disappear clean." "I didn't exactly have time for subtle." Yuri looked at Amara, and her lips curved. "This must be the girl." Amara stiffened. The girl. Like she was some object everyone already knew existed. "Who are you?" "Someone who wants Joon gone as much as you do," Yuri said simply. Min stepped closer. "She's with us." Yuri smirked. "I was with you before she even existed in this mess." "Of course I am." Amara caught the flicker between them. "History. Not the clean kind." "We don't have time," Yuri said. "They'll swarm this place in minutes. I've got a safe house." She turned and started walking toward the shadows. Min followed without hesitation. Amara hesitated. This was all too much. But the sound of distant engines made her decision for her. She followed. The safe house was a warehouse disguised as ruin. Inside, it was all steel, computers, and gunmetal. Yuri tapped on a control panel. Heavy doors slid shut behind them. "This is how we end Joon," Yuri said, throwing a file on the table. Pictures spilled out. Surveillance shots. Documents. And in the middle, Joon, smiling like the devil in a tailored suit. Amara swallowed hard. "What is this? Everything he's done. Everything he's buried." The night of the party wasn't random. He killed a man that night. The one person who could take his empire from him. Min's voice was low. His father. The room went cold. Amara's heartbeat stuttered. He killed his own father? Yuri nodded. And you saw the moment he lost control. That's why you're still alive. Because if anyone else finds out, it's over for him. Amara stumbled back, the truth hitting like a brick to the chest. The blood. The scream. The look on Joon's face. She had seen it. She just didn't want to believe it. He'll never let me live, she whispered. Yuri leaned forward. Then we don't give him a choice. If you followed the story this far, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss how the queen move plays out in this war. Amara's hands shook. What's the plan? Yuri's grin was sharp. His brother. We bring him in. We take everything from Joon the way he took it from everyone else. Min didn't look convinced. His brother's not an ally. He's a snake. Then we feed the snake what it wants, Yuri countered. The air between them thickened. Amara realized this wasn't just a mission. There were fractures already here. Alliances built on broken glass. The door buzzed. Alarms flared on Yuri's screen. 3 SUVs. Heat signatures surrounding the building. He's here, Min said flatly. No, Yuri hissed. He's early. She yanked open a locker, tossed Min a gun, and pulled another for herself. Amara backed toward the wall, every instinct screaming. She wasn't built for this. She wasn't a fighter. She was just a girl who went to a party. Get down. Min barked as the first explosion hit. The wall shook. Dust filled the air. Metal shrieked as the outer doors buckled. Yuri fired the first shot. Min took position behind a crate. The warehouse lit up with gunfire. Amara crawled to cover, hands over her ears, but her eyes locked on the doorway. Joon walked through the smoke like death dressed in silk. No mask. No hesitation. His voice was calm. Run as far as you want, Amara. You'll always be mine. Min lunged forward, gun blazing. Yuri flanked left. The sound was thunder. Sparks burst from every wall. Min screamed. Bullets sliced the air. Joon's men poured in. Min dropped 2 before they could reload. Yuri was faster. A bullet to the leg, a knife to the throat. She moved like she was born for this. Amara's heart slammed, so loud she could barely hear. Joon moved through the chaos untouched, his eyes locked on her. It wasn't about anyone else. Just her. She stumbled back. Min shouted her name. But before she could react, Joon was there. One hand clamped around her throat, yanking her against him. Game over, he whispered in her ear. But what happened next would prove. This war wasn't ending tonight. It was only just starting. Joon's grip on Amara's throat tightened, his breath hot against her ear. Gunfire cracked around them. But in that moment, all she could hear was the steady beat of his heart. Cold, controlled, terrifying. Did you really think you could run from me? He whispered. Min roared her name and lunged forward. But Joon spun, pulling her with him like a shield. His gun was already against her temple. One twitch, and it would all end here. Drop it, Joon ordered. His voice was low, calm, lethal. Min's finger twitched against the trigger, his jaw tight, veins pulsing in his neck. Yuri took a step forward from the left, but Joon's gaze flicked to her, and his smile widened. I know you, Yuri, he said softly. You don't pull the trigger unless it benefits you. Her face hardened, because he wasn't wrong. Put the gun down, Min, Yuri hissed. We need her alive. Do we? Joon purred. She's only useful because she saw. Without her, all this vanishes. Amara's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Every nerve in her body screamed. She looked at Min, really looked, and she saw it in his eyes. The fear, the rage, the impossible choice. Min, she croaked. Don't. His hand trembled. I won't lose you. Joon's smile turned into a blade. You already did. Then everything happened in a single breath. Yuri fired first, not at Joon, but at the light above him. It shattered, raining glass down. The flash blinded him just long enough for Amara to drive her elbow into his ribs. He stumbled, grip slipping. Min fired. The bullet grazed Joon's arm. Joon snarled, spun, and fired back. Yuri dove behind a crate. Amara hit the floor, ears ringing. Min charged him head-on. Fists, gunshots, chaos. For a moment, Min and Joon were nothing but shadows colliding, old enemies tearing each other apart. Blood on the floor. Breathless grunts. One of them would not walk away. Amara scrambled to her feet, grabbed the fallen gun, hands shaking like leaves in a storm. Joon knocked Min to the ground, straddling him, the barrel aimed straight at his chest. "You should have stayed dead," Joon hissed. "Yeah," Min coughed, blood on his lip. "But then who'd kill you?" Amara didn't think. She aimed, pulled the trigger. The gun roared. Joon jerked back, eyes wide. The bullet tore through his shoulder, spinning him off Min. He crashed into the steel crates, gun clattering away. The room fell into silence except for the echo of that shot. Min pushed himself up, eyes on Amara. "You did it." "No," she breathed, shaking. "We did." Outside, sirens wailed. Yuri straightened, bruised but smirking. "Showtime. His brother will know by now. The Empire's bleeding." Joon coughed, a broken laugh spilling out. "You think this ends with me?" Min raised his gun. "No. It starts." If this story had your heart racing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share to your friends and loved ones who you think may be interested in my type of stories, because this was just the beginning. The war for power isn't over. It's only getting started. Stay tuned for part 2.